prevented many lives from being lost, and even once COVID was contracted, minimizing the stay in hospital, et cetera. And so I simply want to say thank you. And please don't underestimate the impact of what you did and will do in the future, ideal sir. I'm signing up for it just okay. But it is critical to our community. What you do is important to really preventing loss of life, ensuring health and well-being throughout, certainly in the South Side, but at the same time, many came from across the city footprint as well. And I simply want to say thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Congregations Baptist, for your efforts. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And I simply want to say thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Congregations Baptist, for your efforts.
Pastor, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you did. You took my phone calls late at night. The next day, and I was a fussing. I was like, you got to help me. And you said, I'm going to help you. And you did. And you reached out to some of those business people like Gene Car, Red Car, and they were sending people to you. Even in the parking lot, you were there helping them. And I will never forget that. All of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because y'all were willing to help the ones that didn't understand. Y'all were willing to help them understand what the shot was, why they needed it. And like Councilman Michael Jones said, I don't know how many people we lost before they could get those shots. And if it hadn't been for you and your people, your members of your church, in that parking lot, I don't know how many more we would have lost in our districts. So I just say thank you for not worrying about what color somebody was, who they were, what they looked like, where they came from. You were there to say, hey, we're going to save you. We're going to help you. And I say thank you.
Hey, y'all. I see 23, I counted in my head rapidly, 23 angels on earth. I see halos and wings. They might be a little invincible, but the work that you did is not. And I so appreciate, you were the first satellite location on south of the river for our south of the river communities, before we got George Whiff, before we got any of that. And you all, it was such a blessing to be able to tell our seniors, tell our folks, go down to Second Baptist. This is where they'll be at. Okay? You all have dealt with not just giving people vaccines. Raise your hand if you came across folks that needed help with other things, right? And how many relationships, and how did you strengthen the fabric of the community by helping with things far beyond the mission of just giving people a shot? You gave people a shot of hope. And I bet you how many of you formed lifelong and still have relationships from this day from people that came in and now are a part of your family. And that's a really important work. This pandemic is not over. This pandemic is not over. We got a whole another set of pandemics that we're grappling with as well. And we need all 23 and then thousands more angels on earth to be able to fight and stick together and work towards a better world and a better community for everybody. So we thank you. We thank you, Pastor. And thank you, Councilmember Jones, for bringing this forward.
Awesome. Pastor Hodge? First of all, I just want to thank the entire Second Baptist Church. This is just a fraction of all of those who coordinated everything when the ministers conference in the health district contacted us, and we were just excited. The Lord had spoke to us earlier in the pandemic that we would be an ARC in March of 2020. So we kind of were ready and looking for opportunities to help. And so we had started testing at the site as early as June of 2020. And so all the way up till the time of still today, we're still working. So I want to thank the entire Second Baptist Church for all they did. I just was somebody in the parking lot taking names, but our deaconesses and deacons and trustees coordinated with everyone to make sure they contacted senior citizens facilities and made sure things. Then later on, the city of Richmond was able to do utility assistance at the church, and then we also were doing rental assistance. So a lot of things were happening because of that. And we just want to thank you guys for trusting us to be at service to you, and we are always at service. I know sometimes council sees me, and sometimes I'm fussing with you guys about a lot of other stuff. I understand that. So, but you all know me. So, but understand, Second Baptist, we're always about the community and what we think is going to be the best thing for the community. And so we thank you for this honor tonight. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I receive this on behalf of the entire Second Baptist Church. You're supposed to look that way.
Now, and if y'all want to come down this way some and kind of.
Which way you want to see? Standing, you can all stand. Oh, yes, sir.
Now hold on, before we take the picture, they have one of the best functioning community gardens on South Side and in the city. One, they have some of the best honey in the city. And I know because I've had several jars, but again, along the whole line of human health and human care and just ministry, that's Second Baptist. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Madam President, that concludes the awards ceremony docket for this evening.
Thank you. We will move on to the citizen comment period speakers.
The first speaker is Stacy Squire. Stacy Squire. The next speaker is L. Shirley Harvey. Miss Harvey.
Good
I see.
afternoon. The program is a little bit behind than what it is on TV, so I hope you can hear me.
We can.
Okay, this is L. Shirley Harvey. I just want to relate to you that today is Rosh Hashanah, very important day in Christendom. With the decisions made recently, it is so evident that this council is either not aware of or deliberately allowing many hardships to control how we live in Richmond. Your votes to change zoning in neighborhoods and increases in assessments and utilities cause considerable harm and homelessness to a large number of our current residents. It is as if Venture Richmond and other corporate entities decide how our resources will be used rather than our residents or this council. In a paper put forth to the General Assembly back in the 80s, the Richmond Renaissance, now known as Venture Richmond, stated that those that they referred to as non-voters would not be allowed to live in Richmond in future times. Why this council gives millions of dollars to Venture Richmond, I don't know. We want to know. Many of us are feeling that we are overly taxed without representation or justice. Please hear us and stop catering to the rich. Understand the needs of the people. So I pray and say, Father, in heaven, hear the cries of the people in the city of Richmond, Virginia. I decree that this council represents the people of Richmond, not the people who want to control the city of Richmond. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. And thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, the next speaker.
The next speaker is Deborah Fisk.
Oh shit. What's she talking about?
Yes, good evening. My name is Deborah Fisk. I'm from the 4th District, and I so appreciate Councilwoman Nye and how she supports her constituents in the district. But my husband and I reside in a small community. We're 55, mostly over 55 people in the community. We're in the section of Richmond that was Chesterfield in 1970. It was annexed. I'm here to talk about the recent real estate assessments and how unfair I find them to be. I don't think there was. To talk about the recent real estate assessments and how unfair I find them to be. Residents that are on fixed incomes. And I believe that 21% blanket that they put across all of those is unfair and doesn't represent fair market value currently with what's going on. We're small. We don't use the schools. We pave our own roads. We have our own trash. We pretty much take care of ourselves, our snow removal and everything. And this assessment at 21% has unfairly put a hardship on many of the members, residents in my community. I do compliment this body and the recent talk about the $1.16, the $1.16 per 100 versus the $1.20. However, that would save me maybe $204 a year. That assessment that they put on my property raised my annual real estate assessment to over $1,000 a year. That's not in my budget, and I have petitioned to have a reassessment, but I wanted the council to be under. I wanted to let you know that I'm trying to speak for the ones in my community that may not get their assessment, those letters out prior to the September 30th deadline. But it did hit us hard in that community. But thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Fisk.
I hope somebody else
of our community who came out to provide public comment this evening.
That's it.
Madam Clerk, do we have any other persons? We don't have anyone else virtually.
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Then if we can proceed to review the agenda for this evening.
Madam President, the amendments to tonight's agenda are as follows. Item 1, Ordinance 2022-205 will be continued to the Monday, October 10th Council meeting. Item 2, Ordinance 2022-214 will be continued to the Monday, October 10th Council meeting. Item 5, Ordinance 2022-232 will be continued to the Monday, October 10th Council meeting. Item 7, Ordinance 2022-234 will be continued to the Monday, October 10th Council meeting. Item 35, Ordinance 2021-097 will be continued to the Monday, October 10th Council meeting. And item 36, Resolution 2022-R049 will be stricken. And lastly, item 37, Resolution 2022-R050 will be stricken. Madam President, those are all the amendments to tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Councilman Addison.
Yes, Council President, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to override the finance recommendation to strike the papers number 37, 36, I believe, and continue those to the organizational development meeting on October 3rd for consideration on October 10th for the full council.
Is there a second to that motion? Council is voting on the motion to override the recommendation to strike items 36 and 37, Resolution 2022-R049 and 2022-R050 R050 and refer both items to the October 3rd, 2022 Organizational Development Standing Committee meeting for recommendation. Mr. Addison.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Ms. Lynch.
Aye.
Ms. Trammell.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
President Newbell.
Aye.
That motion was approved.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Let's proceed.
If there are no other comments regarding the proposed amendments, I will need a motion to accept the amendments as read.
So moved.
Second.
Council is voting on this evening agenda amendments as presented with the exception of items 36 and 37, which will not be stricken this evening. Mr. Addison.
Aye.
Ms. Turgeon.
Aye.
Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Ms. Lynch.
Aye.
Ms. Trammell. Mr. Jones.
Aye.
President Newbell.
Aye.
The amended agenda is before you, and the consent agenda consists of the following items. Item 3, Ordinance 2022-229. Item 4, Ordinance 2022-231. Item 6, Ordinance 2022-233. Item 8, Ordinance 2022-238. Item 9, Ordinance 2022-239. Item 10, Ordinance 2022-240. Item 11, Ordinance 2022-241. Item 12, Ordinance 2022-242. Item 13, Ordinance 2022-245. Item 14, Ordinance 2022-246. Item 15, Ordinance 2022-247. Item 16, Ordinance 2022-248. Item 17, Ordinance 2022-249. Item 18, Ordinance 2022-250. Item 19, Ordinance 2022-251. Item 20, Ordinance 2022-252. Item 21, Ordinance 2022-253. Item 22, Ordinance 2022-254. Item 23, Ordinance 2022-255. Item 24, Ordinance 2022-256. Item 25, Ordinance 2022-257. Item 26, Ordinance 2022-258. Item 27, Ordinance 2022-259. Item 28, Ordinance 2022-260. Item 29, Resolution 2022-R052. Item 30, Resolution 2022-R056. Item 31, Resolution 2022-R057. Item 32, Resolution 2022-R058. Item 33, Resolution 2022-R059. And lastly, Item 34, Resolution 2022-R060. Madam President, those are all the items on tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We will now hold a public hearing on the consent agenda items. Are there persons present who wish to speak in opposition to any item on the consent agenda? If so, if you will come forward.
Good afternoon, members of council. My name is Barbara Starkey, and I just found out about the ordinance 258 tonight, about an hour ago. I didn't have time to get properly dressed, so I just rushed down here. Anyway, my name is Barbara Starkey Good, and I am president of the Oak Grove Civic Association. And I'm here tonight to speak about, to ask the city council not to vote on ordinance 258, which is to direct the sale of the city-owned real estate located at 22 Ingram Avenue, consisting of 5.108 acres for $250,000 for the purpose of building 240 apartment units and 15 townhouses. As I stated, I just found out about this tonight because I was informed that this item tonight was supposed to be a well-kept secret, so that the people of the Oak Grove community and the Oak Grove neighborhood would not come down and speak in opposition of this agenda, being on the agenda for tonight. And that is not right. Members of city council, you know that is not right.
So that's that big,
that this secret was
open
to
field.
Stop the people of the Oak Grove community, which is what has been going on, and the Oak Grove neighborhood would not be able to come down and speak in opposition of this
for
amendment to
500,000.
58.
You getting 5
So
acres?
I'm asking the city council, please do not vote on the ordinance
220
tonight
apartments.
to
Whoa.
give the members of the
Condos.
community,
15
Oak Grove
townhomes.
community and the Oak Grove neighborhood the opportunity
What?
to be informed, to
Oh,
come down
shit.
here and speak in opposition of
Oh.
this. I'm asking that you do not vote on
Oh,
this
that's
for tonight.
crazy.
And I don't feel that it's fair that the Oak Grove community
Oh,
in this
that's
whole development
220.
operation has been left out of being informed about what's going on.
Apartment.
And please, I'm asking you,
Has that been on the
please,
news?
I pray that you do not vote on this tonight.
15
and give the people
condos.
of the Oak Grove community and the Oak
No
Grove
less
neighborhood
than
an opportunity
15
to come in here and
townhomes
speak
or
in
condominiums.
opposition
No
of this.
less
Thank
than.
you.
So
Thank
it
you.
could be more.
Next speaker
They're at.
in opposition.
Oh, that's crazy.
Do we have any other speakers desirous of speaking in opposition to any item on the consent agenda?
Hello, my name is Arlene Dixon and I live at 3126 Parkwood Avenue. I speak in opposition to 2022233, the motion to change and to build a two-family dwelling at 3122 Parkwood. I don't really think we need any more luxury apartments, and especially in that neighborhood. It's an historic neighborhood. I know we don't have the designation, but anybody driving it can see. It was one of the traditional neighborhoods that was fractured when they built the bypass. And this little pocket neighborhood has retained its character. We are struggling with our huge popularity as a living location now. So I recognize that any developer with a chance at a vacant lot or house that comes on the market snatches it up. They expand the property beyond the capacity of your drainage system or your supply system to supply these very large homes that they are turning these areas into. We have watched our property values. I mean, we've all spoken about that. So yes, we are doing that and we recognize it. But mostly what we're seeing is that these consistent expansions and development of the properties are changing the character of this neighborhood. And this particular area was one of the single-family dwellings that had to be demolished. And to change it now to a two-family dwelling, we oppose. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other persons desirous of speaking in opposition to an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, are there persons present desirous of speaking in favor of items on the consent agenda? If you would come forward.
Madam President, members of City Council, my name is Charles Willis. I'm wearing two hats, one as Executive Director of United Communities Against Crime, and then one I want to first speak about my good friend, which is behind me. I think it's very honorable that we recognize the presence of a legendary, for those that may know and those that don't know, present today with us is none other than Kirby D. Carmichael, the tall man of soul. To name a street after him is just a small portion of what Kirby has done for this community, this city, and the state of Virginia. One that originated all the way from New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, but had a love for Richmond, Virginia. I'll never forget the time when Kirby took a little nappy-head guy out of Mosby Court and provided so much opportunity, guidance, and mentorship. Kirby took this young man under his wing and made sure that he stayed out of trouble, made sure that he stayed engaged, and made sure that he saw more than was beyond the scope in the community of Mosby. That young man is standing in front of you today with a brown suit on and an orange shirt. I wanted to be loud because that's the only loudness I could give when it comes to representing my friend Kirby D. Carmichael. So I think it's very commendable. I support the ordinance, the resolution, and I would look forward to you all voting unanimously on that. The other is I do support the opportunity of the, make sure I circle it. I do support the fact that there is a resolution that supports redevelopment in the Oak Grove area. I was one that went into that school when we tried to change it into a school, and we saw that that wasn't fitting. The school board quick deeded back to you all to make something happen, and we believe that what needs to be had, which is the master plan of the city, is that we obtain homes that would be attainable to our community, so that if that's the pleasure of the council, that we look at providing homes so we would have less homeless, that people would have a home, a roof over the top of their head, then I applaud you on that. And then I think it was one, I can't remember what it was, but it was to support a paper that I believe Councilwoman Ann Lambert has in place. I forgot the number of it, but it's one where they, to support the signage of Virginia Union University. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Kirby Carmichael, this is your day. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you, the tall man of soul.
Thank you. Next speaker. Yes.
I'm so glad you just spoke so highly of Kirby Carmichael, because I can remember back in, probably 1996, 98, him and Preston Brown, they took me under their wing, and I would like to have maybe a sign over there by Preston Brown's radio station. I think we talked about this a few years back, of Preston Brown and Kirby Carmichael together over there by the radio station on Hall Street.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
President, members of council, I'm Mark Baker with Baker Development Resources, and I'm here on behalf of the property owner for item number 6, which is special use permit for 3122 Parkwood Avenue. And I thought I'd just take a second to address you because there was a concern raised during the opposition period. This is a special use permit for a 2-family dwelling, which is relatively straightforward.
Mr. Baker, thank you. If you could lean forward.
Sorry, I could hear myself fine. So this is a special use permit for a 2-family dwelling, which is relatively straightforward as far as special use permits go. The request is before you with a recommendation of staff, unanimous recommendation of Planning Commission for approval. And that's due to the fact that while zoning does not support it, it's 100% consistent with the Richmond 300 plan for the area, and that includes a consistency with the land use, future land use plan recommendation of neighborhood mixed use. It also includes consistency with objectives within the high quality places chapter, the equitable transportation chapter, as well as the inclusive housing chapter. And so this is really a matter of current zoning not being up to standard, or not meeting what current policy guidance is with regards to land use from a planning perspective. And I suspect that with planning staff working on a full rewrite of the zoning ordinance, and with a yet to be, but I'm sure to go along with that, a remapping of the city where zoning is concerned, that this is the type of request that will probably be permitted by right in the future. But for now, my clients work through the special use permit process. They've gone through the additional process, the additional time, the additional scrutiny associated with that review, and as a result, the special use permit before you does represent a high quality development that's consistent with planning guidance, and it's comparable with the surrounding neighborhood in terms of use and character. And of course, I can answer any questions you might have, but I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Next speaker. Okay.
For Mr. Baker.
Is there a question for Mr. Baker? Okay, Mr. Baker.
You did volunteer to take questions.
I did.
Glutton for self-punishment. So question for you, Mr. Baker. The current structure is a single-family dwelling unit. Is that correct?
There's not a current structure on the property. That was removed in maybe 2018. There's some history to that, which we could talk about if you want more detail as to why that happened. It was in poor shape. My client had originally purchased the property with the idea of rehabilitating that structure. Well, of course, this neighborhood, none of the properties, even the single families, this is R5 zoning. The characteristics of the property there are more consistent with what you might find in R8 in terms of width, in terms of area. You have a small bungalow on the property that didn't meet the side yard setbacks. And quite frankly, the R5, although it was probably 900,000 square feet in area, it didn't meet the standards to allow for, although 65% lot coverage, they were very limited in lot coverage in the R5. So you have a lot of these houses that are pinned down. You have a lot of single family homeowners in this neighborhood that even to put an addition on for the purpose of a master bedroom or, updating their kitchen, that sort of thing, would have to get kind of some sort of special approval. In this instance, they were thinking about putting a second floor on that dwelling and going up. Well, the problem is the current setbacks, or the setbacks at that time, were not met, and that would have further exacerbated that issue. Structurally, it had to be a situation where they went straight up. Well, that was opposed as well, and we had to go through a process, an administrative variance with the Board of Zoning Appeals, trying to make that happen. That was opposed. My client stepped back. Obviously, that was 2018. There's been some time between then and now. And what's happened in that time period is the Richmond 300 plan was approved, and with some very specific guidance as to being, more efficient with properties, more inclusive, trying to have a more diverse mix of housing types and neighborhoods. And of course, this is a block away from enhanced transportation corridor in terms of Carytown service area. And so, it just kind of aligned. There's so many factors in that current plan guidance that suggest that even a two-family is appropriate here. And they're meeting the standards for where a two-family would be permitted. I mean, they're providing the parking that would normally be required for a two-family dwelling and that sort of thing. But that's why I say in the future, I suspect, and I talk with Dr. Vonk, plan director from time to time, and he said that he'd like to put us out of business. We have 30-some special use permits right now in the pipeline. And it's all because of, they're great projects. They're probably projects, admittedly, they should be able to be done by right. But the zoning doesn't permit it because it's currently not up to our current master plan standards in terms of what we're looking for in terms of efficiency, more inclusiveness, those kinds of things. So I do suspect that this is the kind of thing that might be able to be done by right in 2 or 3 years when that process comes to fruition, the new zoning, a whole text rewrite, a remapping of the city, etc. In the meantime, we have these projects that are consistent with character and consistent with policy guidance. They're having to go through 6 to 8 month processes prior to even getting building permits to get them moving. So, it brings these discussions up on a case by case basis where neighbors are confronted with change, right? And it can be uncomfortable. It's kind of growing pains.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Thank you for illustrating the conundrum that we're faced with in short of rezoning and redefining some of these residential zones. I think, and I have not heard any, I've only gotten 1 or 2 concerns that have been brought forward, and none of which had to do with the form or the structure or the look and feel of the product. It seems like you are conforming with the architectural style of the neighborhood. There have been, some projects in that neighborhood that have very much diverted away from the architectural style of the neighborhood. The big concern I think that we have and that neighbors have in Carytown South, and anyone who frequents Carytowns in the weekend or during the shopping hours, is there's just no parking. And it's a big problem for our neighbors. So are you saying, you were telling me that this is a two families and that there will be parking spaces in the
plans show 3 parking spaces to the rear of the property. The normal zoning for a duplex or 2-family dwelling would require 2 parking spaces. So sort of exceeding what would be required under normal standards.
So there is parking in the back, in the rear. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, Madam President, other council members. My name is Jermaine O'Neill. This is Mr. Rodney Teller and Mr. George Johnson. We are here amazingly happy to speak on Ordinance 240, which is the renaming of the playground, the baseball complex in the Calhoun Community Center in honor of the legendary Coach Bo Jiggets. He was an amazing individual. He volunteered for 37 years in that community and playground. It had a huge impact on our lives. Unfortunately, we lost him in March of 2020, and we lost a lot of people, but he was a huge staple in that community, was good to the kids, had a good influence on us, and I'm gonna let Mr. Taylor speak because I let him speak.
Good afternoon. Like Jermaine said, I'm Rodney Taylor. I'm one of the kids that Coach Bo saved from a crack infested home. I'm a rape baby. My mother was raping. She kept me. I had no father figure, so Coach Bo saved me from the streets. He changed my life. One day as a kid, he asked me what did I want to be, and I said just like him. So I became a mentor in Jackson Ward mental health. I'm a qualified CRIM-HP. I'm also a coach and work at Cal Home Center. Come back in and keep the legacy going for Coach Bo.
Good afternoon. My name is George Johnson. A lot of people know me as Coach George. I've been a volunteer for the coach over 50 years. I've stopped counting after that. I remember when Bo came along, I would call him Bo. He the real Bo James over there. And he took kids by the hand, guided them, and we used to battle each other, but we both was tough friends. So when he passed away, my thing is now, I think all we start saluting our heroes that is not wrote down in books, that is not heard about until they pass. So this will make a big, big movement for all the volunteers that are coaching the city to have this name after Bo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President and members of council. My name is Brian Jackson. I'm with the Hirschler Law Firm. I'm here tonight regarding item 26 on the agenda, the former Oak Grove school site. I'm here primarily to answer any questions that might be with council, but to also point out that members of the development team are here, and just one clarification I really would like to make that's important for the record. We have submitted already over 100 petition names and letters of support, as well as a identifying map showing specifically where many of those residents live who gave us either letters or signed the petition. And so the idea that this is a surprise or not known to people in the community is just simply not the case. We've in fact also had 2 community meetings. Our community outreach started in February with Councilman Trammell's community meeting. We've gone door to door. We've talked to people individually in small groups. And I think the petitions and the letters speak for themselves. But primarily I wanted to answer any questions that might be here, and also make the development team available if there are questions specifically for them.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Next speaker.
Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Taylor Harris. I'm a student at the University of Richmond, and I am speaking in favor of Order 2022-247. I'm in favor of the executing the grant contract between the City of Richmond and the Young Men's Civic Christian Association, because we definitely do need some more childcare opportunities, especially since there's not too many positive places left in the City of Richmond because of, certain things going around. So we definitely do need somewhere for young students to go and have a safe place after school and build a better mindset and environment for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Lynch.
Madam President, just wanted to thank Taylor for her advocacy. It's important to come down here. I see some students. Please keep participating. Please keep engaging. That's how I got involved a long time ago as a social work student at VCU. So keep it up, Taylor. Thank you for coming down.
Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Emmett Wembush. I'm here speaking on behalf for Kirby Carmichael, and my thing is this. I'm a retired Henrico police officer. Kirby used to run the skate lane for us. It was a safe haven for the younger generation. And based on what he did in Henrico County, I don't know how the situation is here. He's contributed to the city of Richmond, but if it's anything like Henrico County, I've known the man since 1977, and I'm proud to call him my friend. If there's a chance that they can honor him with the street, oh, happy day. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other persons here desirous of speaking to any item on the consent agenda in favor? If you would stand, please.
Good evening. My name is Bill Bevins. I'm a native Richmonder. I was born on Broad Street.
That's old boy.
The old
be
West
talking
Hospital.
on the radio.
I've spent my life
WRVA or
in
something.
Richmond on the radio and some TV as well. I got to meet and work with one of my heroes for several years. And I will caution you, if you ever get a chance to meet a hero, beware. It might change your opinion. My heroes growing up in the 60s as a teenager in Richmond were Tiger Tom Mitchell, Cousin Brucey from New York, and Kirby Carmichael from Richmond. The tall man of soul, as has been said here already. I got to meet Kirby as a youngster, and then later in life, I got to actually work with and beside Kirby Carmichael. My opinion of Kirby changed. It got better. Kirby is a giant.
Don't he talk like
He's
one
a
of them
kind,
white people that
wonderful human being.
be on the radio?
He is one of my heroes, and he taught me a lot.
He sound like Casey Kasem.
Kirby was very generous
Casey's
with
called
his knowledge and always tried to mentor me and help me in every way. He would tell me, watch out for that one, they'll stab you in the back. This one will help you, but nobody helped me more than Kirby Carmichael. He is a giant among men, as I said, and if you're going to name a street after Kirby, make it a big one, because he's a big man with a big heart and deserves any honor that you bestow on him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
I wasn't going to do this because I don't even like to talk in front of people anymore. My name is James Johnston, and for a few years, well, quite a few years, I was on the radio myself, and I went by the name of Chocolate Chip. And I had a chance to work with Kirby for 6 years at WANT. But his influence went way beyond the radio. He was just a good person. And Richmond has had many outstanding announcers, but there's been only one, Kirby Carmichael. So if anybody's befitting a street named after them, it's Kirby.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Madam President, and all members of Richmond City Council. My name is James J.J. Minor.
Can we pull the microphone up, please?
Sure, no problem. Can you hear me now? Okay. I want to say thank you for this. I'm hoping that you all would pass this paper or this ordinance in reference to Kirby Carmichael, who was my hero and the giant he was and still is. He is a legend amongst the living, and we all loved him. He provided a safe place for me growing up at Skateland. Goes back to WANT radio over in Northside. He would actually, if you ever want to know how blacks and whites can join together, he was a bridge builder. He'll show you how. If you want to see someone who can bridge that gap between blacks and whites, Kirby Carmichael can show you how to do that. You're talking about a legend, the Shylights, OJs, James Brown, Michael Jackson, and all of the other entertainers from the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, 60s, and even back to the 50s, before my time. This is a legend. This is black history. This is history. What an honor it would be to name something after one of my heroes, one of the greatest persons I've ever known, and that is Kirby Carmichael. Again, he is a legend amongst the living. Please pass this, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council. My name is Sandra Antoine. I am too a native Richmonder, and I go back a little further than some of them. My days of being inspired and listening to the great Kirby Carmichael on the radio. When you think of, as JJ mentioned, naming of someone of this character, see, he's more than just a staple. He's an industrial staple. He's one of the big ones. And I do hope that you will consider doing just this, naming a street after him while he can see the street sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Members of council, my name is Walter Allman, and I am a retired Richmond City employee. And it's my honor tonight to stand here to ask members of council to name the street after Kirby Carmichael. My friendship with Kirby goes back more than 35 years. In fact, him and I used to work at places in South Richmond where you paid 99 cents to get in. I had the occasion to work with Kirby for more than 27 years at all four skating rinks from Henrico, Richmond, all the way out to Ashland and down to Petersburg. And there's no better way to honor Kirby. And you hear people calling Kirby the giant. It's not because of his height of being 6'6". It's because he's given so much to the city of Richmond. When you think about Kirby, you think about the voice. He is the voice, as JJ said, that bridged black folk and white folk within the city of Richmond. This is the man that we should remember today. Let him get a chance to see the sign now. It's just like when you smell the flowers, you want to see the flowers before you die. Give him an opportunity to look at that sign and feel that sign and touch that sign and say, I did this. Members of council, I ask you to pass that resolution or ordinance to honor Kirby David Carmichael. Thank you.
Thank you. Would like to thank all of the speakers, and the public hearing is now closed. Bring it back to City Council for what? I can't. Where? Yes.
Excuse me. My name is Eugene Murphy. Is this the opportunity to speak to 2022 R055?
No, it is not.
Can y'all please let them know?
No, we will let you know. Thank you. Ms. Trammell, did you have a question or a comment?
Madam President,
You were saying something.
Can we push Kirby up here for a minute? JJ, can you push him up here for a second, please? Come on up, Kirby. Kirby, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me the knowledge that you gave me back in the day on that radio show. You let me come in no matter what time and let me speak, and you helped me, and you said I was the shyest little girl you ever seen. And I just want to say thank you, because you really helped me, and you really gave me wisdom, and you gave me hope, and I appreciate that.
Okay. Mr. Carmichael, I wasn't sure if you wanted to provide some statement or comment.
Thank you. Thank everybody for thinking a little bit about the rocking jock. I did it all for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carmichael, thank you for your contribution. Your legacy, you are a legend in this community, as you've heard, and clearly deserving of recognition. So we're pleased that this opportunity for folks to acknowledge, but also for us to just say thank you, the entire body. So with that, I think I have one more. Councilwoman Jordan, did you have a comment? And then Councilwoman Nye, and then we will round out.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to add my name to this recognition as well as the other two. And I want to know when the signs are going up so we can all be there. And it's going to be a beautiful day. And I know my colleague, Councilmember Lambert, is so sad to be missing this. But I took pictures for her, and I wrote down some of the comments. And thank you for coming down here so we can give you your due this evening.
Thank you. Councilwoman Nye.
Thank you, Dr. Newbell. And yes, I'd also like to be added as a patron to this paper, and just thank you for all you've contributed to the community. It's been great to hear all the comments from Richmonders tonight. I love this. This is the whole reason we do this job. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Dr. Newbell, I want to speak briefly about something else, but I'll give time to other council members if they want to speak to this paper, if you want to circle
Thank
back.
you. Yeah, let us close out this particular one. And members, any others desires of being added to? Okay. Madam Clerk, I think this is just not everyone is desirous of being added as a patron and supportive of the naming of the street after our legend, Mr. Kirby Carmichael. So, thank you, and thank you for being here, and thank you for your contribution to this city. With that, the public hearing is closed. Bring it back to council. Councilwoman Nye.
Thank you, Dr. Newbell, and thank you to everybody who came to speak tonight on our consent agenda items. One item that did not come up that I just wanted to speak briefly on is ordinance 2022-239. We have a neighbor in the 4th District who has property adjacent to the James River Park system, and they are giving us an easement to part of their land. So the James River Park system is becoming bigger. And so I'd just like to give a huge shout out to the Rogers family, as well as Capital Region Land Conservancy, who's helping facilitate it. And then this piece of land will go into the easement, and it will be protected forever. So I think this is really exciting for the city as well as for the James River Park system.
Yes. Thank you, Councilwoman Nye.
Hey.
Councilwoman Trammell.
Thank you, Madam President. I speak to number 26, 2022-258. I want to thank all the citizens of my district that have called me, given me support in getting that old Grove school tore down on Ingram Avenue. There's been so much crime over there, shootings and elderly people having to deal with the things that they've had to deal with. And as one of the citizens said, we took a tour back there in 2015, and we went downstairs, the boiler was full of water, the whole basement was flooded. Come out of there coughing and choking because it's been abandoned. Homeless people have been living in it. They've set it on fire. There's some illegal activity going on in the back of the school where the citizens on Ingram Avenue have to look at it through their kitchen window and see the stuff going on. Those citizens, I went and talked to almost all of them over there, and they were like, please do something. We are sick and tired of it. And even the police officers, they come to our meetings. They've come to the meeting that John Gregory held with some of the citizens, and the officer told them, when you have a vacant building like this does nothing but bring in elements of crime. Why not tear it down? It cannot be remodeled, cannot be fixed up. It's too far gone. Tear it down, take it away, and put something there that the people will be proud of, especially the citizens that live in that area, and a council person that's represented that area since 1998. I want to say that also people did not understand that money does not go to Richmond, doesn't go to us, doesn't go to city council. That $500,000 goes back to the schools. And we all know right now that those schools, they need the money. And I'm not saying that, that it's a bad thing, it's a good thing, because to me, I want to thank our school board member back in the day was Derek Jones that helped me. And Charles Willis, you and I went to those meetings, and we knew that President Barack Obama had talked about pre-K and all that. We got Summer Hill open back up as pre-K. Oak Grove did not get opened back up. It was still been closed since 2012. Here it is today. I'm still getting calls. Is it going to happen? Yes, it's going to happen. Finally, since 2012 to 2022, the school been empty. We need affordable housing. I'm sick and tired of my people sleeping in tents in my district, mothers and children sleeping in tents and do not have a home, do not have a roof over their heads. This will bring in money for us that we need, tax base, affordable housing, all of that. And the people came to the meeting and they told Mr. John Gregory what they wanted. He didn't say no. He said, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear from the people. And when you got a developer that walked the street and talked to the people, and you listened and you took notes, and as they said, they got signatures. They got people that said, this is what we want. Please, please tear it down now. And the first thing they said after the meeting, can we go out there now and start tearing it down? And Mr. Gregory said, oh God, no, we got to have the votes. We got to make sure it gets passed, but we go there and start tearing it down. But I would be very, very grateful if all my colleagues supported this, because this is something that not only my district needs, the city of Richmond, we need more affordable housing. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Trammell. If there are no further discussions, we will proceed with calling the question. Mr. Clark.
Council is now voting on the consent agenda items as presented. Mr. Addison.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Ms. Lynch.
Aye.
Ms. Trammell.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
President Newbill.
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Let's proceed to the regular agenda items.
The first regular agenda item for this evening is item 38, resolution number 2022-R051, to reverse the decision of the Commission of Architectural Review striking from its docket and denying an application for a certificate of appropriateness to install new lights on the Van Memorial Tower located at 1500 North Lombardy Street in the shape of the Virginia Union University emblem by fully approving such application. That paper is before council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this point, I will proceed with the public hearing. Do we have persons present desirous of speaking in opposition to this paper? You would come forward at this time. Seeing none, do we have persons present desirous of speaking in favor of this paper? If you would come forward at this time. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Bring it back to City Council for discussion. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk or Madam Clerk, if you would call the question.
Council is now voting on item number 38, resolution number 2022-R051, as stated. Mr. Addison.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Ms. Lynch.
Aye.
Ms. Trammell.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
Aye.
And President Newbill.
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you. Let's move forward to the next item.
The next regular agenda item for this evening is item number 39, resolution number 2022-R055, to select RVA Diamond Partners LLC as the developer of the Diamond District and express the council's support for certain proposed minimum business terms and conditions in relation to the development. That paper is before council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is the primary patron desirous of any comment at this point?
Good evening, Dr. Newbill, distinguished members of Richmond City Council. My name is Leonard Sledge, and it's my privilege to serve as the Director of Economic Development for the city. We're pleased that you all are considering tonight this paper, which will name RVA Diamond Partners as the developer of the 67-acre Diamond District site that will result in a multi-phase redevelopment project that will transform this area into a new neighborhood with a combined capital investment of $2.44 billion over that time period. We're really pleased with the work of the evaluation evaluation panel. We have had the opportunity to talk with all members of council about this, and we just stand ready to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sledge. At this time, we will have a public hearing. Are there persons present desirous of speaking in opposition to this paper? If you would come forward.
My name is Janice Parks Library. And I'm here. I am a long-standing resident of Richmond, Virginia, in the 4th District. And I am a long-time tax-paying citizen. My purpose in addressing you, because the select RVA Diamond Partners LLC as the developers of the Diamond District, as it is so-called referred to now, for your support is to oppose the demolition of the Arthur Ashe Jr. Athletic Center. Am I in order or am I not in order? My concern is that if you support the RVA Diamond Partners LLC, you support their plan. Are there two different divisions of this? The plan or the developers? That's my question for right now. Otherwise, I need to speak with you. I'm asking a question. To support the developers of the Diamond District, does that mean you support their plan to demolish the Arthur Ashe Jr. Athletics Center?
So what we are desirous of is hearing what your opposition is to this particular paper. And then for questions, I am more than happy to have Mr. Sledge come over and be very specific in terms of the different phases of the Diamond District project and what would happen when, and especially relative to the Arthur Ashe Center. So if you will, provide us with the balance of your comments about the plan, we will make sure that you get your questions answered.
My purpose in addressing each of you is that the city of Richmond citizens need to know more about the purpose of selecting the Diamond Partners LLC as a developer. And I oppose any plans the developers have to demolish the Arthur Ashe Junior Athletic Center in Richmond, Virginia. As you know, your cohorts, your city council cohorts, built the Arthur Ashe Junior Athletic Center to remember his legacy. And I don't need to tell you anything more about Arthur Ashe Jr., right? You know his achievements. And he brought national spotlight to our city, Richmond, Virginia. And you know, with the U.S. Open, they built an Arthur Ashe Jr. Stadium where you watch Serena Williams play. And you know that he attended Maggie L. Walker High School in Richmond, Virginia.
Thank you. That exceeds your time.
I haven't finished yet. You asked me to tell you why that you not opposing it.
Sure. Let me just say, we do have a time constraint, but if you would go on and complete your statement, and we will then have, again, opportunity for you to speak with staff to get greater specificity.
So when can I continue? Because I'm almost halfway through. It should not be demolished. And it's owned by the Richmond Public Schools. And whether it's in phase 1, which is not, or phase 2, do not destroy what the city council members before you built brick by brick, and those that live in the city of Richmond. We're not from out of town. And therefore, I am on record, and I'm sure the rest of our citizens are on record, not say no to the destroying of Arthur Ashe Jr. Center. Those what do you call it? Those destruction dollars, those demolishing dollars can be used to enhance. It's already a physical center. It's already an athletic center. The reason Arthur Ashe Center was built at the corner was to expand Parker Field. And Parker Field, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to research. Parker Field was on expanded for the Diamond baseball field. That was expanded. That's why the Arthur Ashe Center was put out of the way at the corner, Arthur Ashe Junior Center. So you can take the developers can take those same demolition dollars and improve it. Can you imagine the Arthur Ashe Junior Physical Fitness Center surrounded by tennis courts, surrounded by volleyball, the perimeter, and even the other areas, and it's already designed for track and has its personal memorabilia in it? Say no. Don't allow developers that don't even live in this city come in and tell us that VCU is going to. No.
So I want to say thank you for your feedback and your comment in opposition. Mr. Sledge, I'd like to ask you to come forward so that you might be able to, go in the back and answer the additional questions, especially relative to the Ashe Center and the development period. But I think that we are clear in your opposition to the demolition of the Arthur Ashe Center specifically.
Ms. Newbill, would you
Thank you.
let me know when I shall come back?
Mr. Sledge is going to meet you now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have other persons present desirous of speaking in opposition to this paper?
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sarah Marie Maddox. I live in the 1st District, and I wish to submit a comment to you directly. First of all, I'd like to say a quote, and I may be misquoting, but I believe Arthur Ashe said this. It's painted on a mural. It's beautiful. It's in Battery Park, and he says, "Start where you are. Use what you have and do what you can." And this is my voice now. We cannot afford to subsidize a pastime that requires a $100 million facility to be built on bonds paid for by our future generations, not even yet born. Our basic services and public infrastructure should be our #1 and perhaps sole priority, at least until we are succeeding at meeting the basic needs, which we are far from. If our city council members wish to support public future funding for a new baseball facility, then softball should also be a part of this unnecessary to the average Richmonder amenity. I submitted this question as part of the RFI process via the Diamond District questions and answers I submitted, and this was, I believe, in February. Any broadening discussion of women's athletics use of the stadium? The response provided was, not at this time. VCU does not have a women's baseball team, nor a women's softball team. Softball would require a different size field. Several women's sports will be accommodated within the VCU athletics village. And my follow-up comment, which I submitted to the panel on February 17th, 2022, I said, I believe that VCU does have a softball club. And I gave a link, which is no longer accurate because maybe that's not the truth anymore. I don't know. And there are other schools, colleges, universities, and community centers in and around Richmond that may also. It could be important for the public to be aware of the possibility for a more inclusive facility enhancement, particularly with the current publicized need for female changing rooms, as previously referenced sticking point or requirement for the current league standards. I am not an expert.
You have 30
but
seconds.
supposedly the International Olympic Committee considers baseball and softball to be a single sport, so sharing venues makes sense from its perspective. In my humble opinion, women's sports have been traditionally left out and left behind. I would challenge the traditional argument that is often made, women's sports do not generate money, by making the point that continual investments and adaptation are powerful tools when implemented as they often are with traditional sports and recreation of pastimes. It could be a loss to overlook this opportunity to enhance participation and include women's softball in some form, thereby evolving the platform which our beloved city and largest hometown university promote of welcoming, developing, celebrating, and elevating diverse talent. A would-be home run worthy of the name. Diamond District, 1 VCU, 1 Richmond. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have other persons present desirous of speaking in opposition to this paper? Seeing none. Do we have persons present desirous of speaking in favor of the paper? If you would come forward.
Good evening, President Newbill, honorable members of City Council. My name is Jerome Legends, and I am a resident of the 2nd District, and I live in the Amby community of the 2nd District, which is Carver. Amber, you say, what is that? Already in my backyard. Okay? Per block, Carver community has the most diverse housing stock, more so than any other community, which provides and promotes diversity, density, and inclusion. Thank you for thank you for that indulgence. And I would like to ask you to vote in favor of Resolution 2022 R055 to select RVA Diamond Partners LLC as the developer of the Diamond District. RVA Diamond Partners project would pretty much replicate the housing stock in Carver and promote diversity, density, and inclusion. Housing in the Diamond District is not just a rental project, but it is a very strong component of home ownership. Home ownership is one way of improving generational wealth. This will give folks who can afford to buy a home that is either above or below market rate, as well as rent. Passing this resolution is a step in economic development. Of course, the major players will continue to grow and prosper, but more importantly, it will provide opportunities for the entrepreneur who wants to go it alone or combine their entrepreneurial efforts and grow. There will be a greater training opportunity for those who would like to acquire and or sharpen their skills in the building trades. This resolution allows career development, which can also be parlayed into generational wealth, economic stability, etc. I am sure that you will hear after passing, or maybe you've already heard that passing this resolution would be a tax burden on the citizens of Richmond. It is truly a tax burden if is it truly a tax burden if more Richmonders have economic opportunities and can contribute to the tax base? Again, Your Honors, I would like to ask you to cast your vote in favor of Resolution 2022 R055. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
I'm speaking on behalf of the Local 980. I'm speaking on behalf of in favor of this project, creating jobs. Just want to say, yeah, I'll vote for this project.
Please state your name.
Ishmael Twine.
Can you restate it?
Ishmael Twine.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Dr. Newbill and members of council. I am Shamika Bowen, a proud resident of the 4th District of the City of Richmond and a partner in Richmond Black Restaurant Experience with both personal and professional interests in this development project. Just under 7 years ago, Richmond Black Restaurant Experience, known throughout the region as RBRE, began to curate a unique annual experience for the city that amplifies and elevates the visibility and viability of Black-owned restaurants, chefs, and caterers. In our inaugural year, 14 business owners trusted our vision and marketing strategy. More importantly, thousands of Richmonders have now come out every year from both sides of the river, and they have joined in our movement to provide economic sustainability for both our legacy and budding businesses. This year, RBRE, with now over 40 minority-owned businesses, will eclipse $1 million in annual revenue. We believe that these experiences go beyond the brick-and-mortar restaurants, and RBRE allows the introduction and active engagement in spaces and with partners throughout our community to enhance the culture, from the use of our beautiful park system, museums, schools, theaters, and sporting venues. We are starting to eradicate the perception of a socially segregated city, and oftentimes takes a remedial and insensitive approach of economic inclusion. We believe that the RVA Diamond Partners fosters a progressive vision for Richmond, and I ask that Councilors Tramble and my Councilor Nye join with their colleagues by voting yes. Yes to forward progression. Yes to minority business owners. Yes to revitalizing Richmond's footprints as innovative leaders and a tourist destination. Yes to a Richmond that we all can be proud of, a city with monumental opportunities to craft a future Richmond that we all can be proud to enhance employment opportunities, residential opportunities that we both can relax and represent our city. So again, councilors, the answer is yes.
Thank you. Next speaker.
How you doing? My name is Frederick Patron. I'm a resident of the city, and I want to thank you all for voting on this resolution to bring jobs to the city. So me as a citizen of this city can provide for me and my kids. Thanks.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening. I'm Robert Addison, resident of the 7th District. My third year apprentice with the IBEW 666. I started as a pre-apprentice, and that was a cohort that was put together for people who were historically underrepresented in the construction field. And they made sure we had skills to succeed in the construction field and as apprentices. Once I graduated, I was guaranteed a spot in the apprenticeship. And being that I had that spot, now I have been able to the opportunity to work and provide for myself and my family. And I would also like to be able to continue to do so in support of the Diamond District project. The IBEW has changed my life and the ones around me that I care about. So I support the strong workforce standards in the Diamond District plan because they will help more people in the city residents begin a career that will change their life as well. We ask that you vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Kira Freskin, and like Mr. Epps, who just spoke, I'm also a resident of the 7th District, and I'm a second-year apprentice with the IBEW 666. I decided to pursue becoming an electrician in 2020 after working a variety of jobs, none of which were leading to a financially stable place. Immediately upon becoming an apprentice, I was making more than I was at my last position in retail management. I now also have healthcare, where before I could not afford the employment-based healthcare, and my wife and I were reliant on Medicaid. Starting the apprenticeship changed my life, putting me on a career path, not just a job. I support the Diamond District plan to give more people a chance to have a story like mine. By requiring healthcare and retirement for full-time workers on a portion of the project, more workers will have that chance. City resident workforce goals will make pathways to the middle class for my neighbors, my community in this city. I support this paper and the opportunities it will create. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Madam President and council members. My name is William Forrester. I'm the Executive Director for the Metropolitan Junior Baseball League, which was founded in 1966 here in Richmond, Virginia. During that time, we've seen a lot of things take place here in the city. I actually started running the program when the mayor was Walter Kenny, and the Director of Recreation and Parks was Elston Reardon. So that was a few years back. The Richmond Braves were the baseball team here. They left in 2008. We were fortunate to have the Richmond Flying Squirrels come in 2010. We were extremely lucky. We had many folks here who really loved baseball who were without baseball for 2 years. When the Squirrels came, they had the same mentality that we do with the Metropolitan Junior Baseball League when we were established during the days of segregation when African American youth were not allowed the opportunity to play baseball. And we set up this league so everyone would have a chance to play. The Richmond Flying Squirrels, they do the exact same thing. They make sure that everybody has a chance, all kids, no matter what neighborhood you come from, they want to make sure that they are treated just as much as a part of the game as anyone else, no matter what their economic standards is, their race, religion, it doesn't matter. The Squirrels are an equal provider for the fun and excitement that they provide. And we all know that the Richmond Flying Squirrels bring a huge economic impact to the city of Richmond. And with this Diamond District project, would only enhance what the Flying Squirrels are able to do. Now, since I've been working with baseball, and I'm on a national level, so I'm aware of what goes on with Major League Baseball, and they have given the Richmond Flying Squirrels to 2025 to get a new stadium. Well, they're going to have to leave here.
You have 30 seconds.
And we don't want to see the repeat of what we did, the mistake with the Richmond Braves. We don't want to see that happen again. We want to make sure that the Flying Squirrels stay here, stay relevant, and continue to make an impact to the youth in this area, and also a financial and economic impact. Finally, when I was growing up, I was told that if you got something that works, you got something that's good, you better make darn sure that you do everything you can to keep it. So let's make sure we keep the squirrels, and let's vote for this Diamond District. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, council members, Madam President. Whoa, is that okay? My name is Kat Harville. I'm a 2nd District Richmond City resident and a proud member of Carpenters Local 205. And knowing that my tax dollars are in your hands to shape my home, the place that I live and I work, I'd like to speak in favor of Ordinance 55, specifically in relation to introducing labor-protecting business terms and conditions on the project. While I've been a Richmond City resident nearly my entire life, my family, largely comprised of union members, originally hails from Eastern Kentucky. I won't bore you with a history lesson tonight, but suffice to say, I've seen what can happen to a place and to its people when the formidable machine of American labor isn't respected and carefully tended to as it deserves and as it requires. I love Richmond. I love my neighbors. I love my union brothers and sisters across the trades. I want to work within my city. I want jobs within my city, not just out in counties. I want to brace this place and its precious citizens against coming economic hardship by investing in its infrastructure and in the people we rely on to create and to maintain it. I want to earn and spend my money here. I want safe, well-paying, and dignified work for some of the most deserving men and women I know. I want to feel secure and supported in my plan to continue to build and live in Richmond for the rest of my life. It's for these reasons I implore you to stand behind us, behind American labor, by supporting and defending a robust PLA in the Diamond District project. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Ma'am, do you mind restating your name?
It's Kat Harville.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Madam President and the Council. My name is Tyrone Key. I'm a journeyman carpenter over 25 years with Local 205. I'm here in support of this people, but we also want y'all to make sure y'all support us with the project labor agreement that's for the union. The contractors will be responsible and give us guidelines with this agreement. And I'm in support of it. Thank y'all for y'all time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Madam President, councilors, my name is Taft Mangus. I'm a resident of Baltimore. I'm also a representative with the Mid-Atlantic Regional Organizing Committee of the Labor's International Union of North America. I appreciate your support in this resolution, and much like the folks from the Second Baptist Church, Richmonders know what's best for Richmond. So let's put Richmond to work with these good paying union jobs. I graduated from my apprenticeship in 2011. One of the shining accomplishments of my life was getting my union journeyman card. These folks know what's best. They work with integrity, and this isn't just a job to pass the time until something better comes along. This is a career with stable benefits, decent pay, and it has the potential to lift people out of poverty and change the course of their lives. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Madam President and council members. Thank you for having me. My name is Carol Reese, and I am a resident worker. I've lived in almost every district. I've gone to school in at least 4 districts. And I would say that this project is more than just about the buildings and the changing. It's about the legacy that provides people with a sustainable way to build forward better. So I'd say, please support it and vote for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Madam President and council members. My name is Grace Washington. Many of you know me. You also know the only time I come before this podium is to talk about jobs and training. This project offers us the unique opportunity to create career pathways not only in construction, but in hospitality, culinary, and many others of the businesses that will appear in the buildings that are going to be built. The project itself is 15 years, so we have a long time to get residents involved and trained up so that they can really make a livable wage. Our plan calls for us to do many, many creative things. I know I have both the personal interest because I'm very passionate about this, but also a professional interest because I am the workforce coordinator. And as hard as I work to make sure that our underserved communities get an opportunity, you can believe that that will be on the forefront of everything we do. I ask that you support and pass this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, President Newville, members of council. I come to you tonight from Chamber RVA. I'm Brian Anderson, President and CEO. We are headquartered at 919 East Main Street. We support this project. Our members of over 600 businesses employing tens of thousands throughout the region support job creation. We support economic, equitable growth. And I really want to speak to your staff rather than just the project. You've got great developers that you have had a very transparent process pick. I commend the council members who led that, participated in the panel. If your staff is doing equitable economic development like nobody I know in the country, if you compare us to cities like Nashville and Columbus, Charlotte, Austin, you go on and on. We are not keeping pace when it comes to job creation, gross domestic product delivery, and equitable growth for economic mobility. This project gives you a chance to do a multi-phased approach that provides housing, jobs, mixed-use development, and amenities. If we want to keep pace with the regions we're competing with, we have to have developments like this led by local, state, and regional national partners like RVA Diamond District. I implore you to pass this paper.
Thank you. Mr. Parney.
Hello, everybody. I'm proud to be Parney Parnell, the CEO of the Flying Squirrels. Before I start, I have to wish happy birthday to my fiancée, Tanya, who I'm treating to a night at City Council for her birthday. So, happy birthday, sweetheart. I also have some of my Squirrels family here with us, and we just want to say that we love being a part of the Richmond community. We're way more than just about the baseball. While we have had 5 million people come to our games since 2010, we work tirelessly, as all of you know, 365 days a year. We're not in the baseball business. We're not in the entertainment business. We're in the memory-making business, and memories are made 12 months a year. We appreciate everything that y'all have done to this point. We appreciate the mayor. We appreciate Leonard and his office and everything they've done, and we're ready to go. We are ready to go. The time is now. We got our seatbelts on, and we're looking forward to the future. The people that I work with on a daily basis, I love them. They're like my family. Tanya treats them like our family, and Richmond is our family as well. Everyone in Richmond. And we look forward to this very much, and we implore you to continue your support of this bill and this project. And as always, we urge you to have fun and go nuts.
Thank you, Mr. Barney. Next speaker.
Good evening, Dr. Newville, Council. My name is Irvin Clark. I'm founder and chairman of the Central Virginia African American Chamber of Commerce, and we implore that you support this paper as well. Just a brief statement, I've truncated it. I met with RVA Diamond Partners and can say that They have assembled a team and a project concept that demonstrates their commitment to including African Americans and other minority-owned businesses in a large transformational project, this Diamond District. We like the vision, and the opportunity, I think, is absolutely fantastic and great, and we hope that you support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other persons desirous of speaking in favor of this paper? If so, if you would line up. Seeing none, Mr. Willis is the last speaker.
Madam President, we do have a virtual speaker online.
Okay, Mr. Willis and then the virtual speaker.
Thank you so much, Madam President and other members of council. Glad to see my good friend and March colleague, Councilwoman Ann Lambert, present with big smiles. I do want to say that this is one of those opportunities that is a happy moment, but a sad moment. I'm extremely happy because so many have came down. I can see that so many Richmonders and others see the vision of Richmond growing and how we can grow together. It's better together. One of the things that former Councilwoman Mosby often shares, as we share in the community, is rebuilding the village. The village has been torn apart, but this is a prime example of how the village can come together, all together for one, because it's better together. It's a sad moment also because over a year ago, I stood before council and we talked about another project, Councilwoman Trammell, the One Casino and Resort. That was also a vision that we believed and thought that many of the citizens would grab a hold to. I'm gonna save that for a later date.
Thank you.
But as we sit here and support this district, I'm talking about development, I'm talking about this. So the One Casino goes right with it, because we talk about developments across the city. As we look at the Oak Grove development, we look at what was the one, what is the One Casino development, we have the Diamond District development, and other developments that are going to be coming forward. We need to come together also and remind each other that it takes a village to do this. So as we come together,
the people ain't like the casino, but they ain't like the casino.
I don't know if it's
they
5
don't
votes
mind the
or 7
diamond
votes that
though.
are needed. I
They
hope
don't
that
mind.
everyone would vote for it. But also when other developments like this come together, that we can partner and see the same
But
thing
this is
happen
not
in
even
other
the
parts of
same
the district.
development. How
So
you gonna
thank you
just
so
say
much. Other parts of the
developments
city.
like that?
So thank you so much for the
So
opportunity.
just any old
But
development,
this is definitely
a
project
casino,
that I
a
think
liquor
needs to go
store,
forward, just like other
anything.
projects that are coming forward before our city that's in our Richmond 300 master plan.
I guess you just
Thank you so
go
much.
with whatever
Thank
project
you.
is proposed.
Madam Clerk, next speaker.
The next speaker is Charles Skelly.
President Newell and esteemed council members, good evening. I'm Charles Skelly, President of the Richmond Building and Construction Trades Council,
He got his
business
speaking voice.
manager of Electricians Local 666, and a proud resident of the 1st District. My apologies for not being able to attend in person tonight. I'm currently quarantined with COVID. I thank you all very much for continuing to allow
Nobody
remote
cares.
appearances for those who are in quarantine or may have health concerns. Great service to the public. First, I'd like to thank the mayor and administration, the evaluation panel, RVA Diamond Partners, and everyone on council that had something to do with putting the plan together that's before you. A deal that will benefit the parties involved and the city as a whole is good, but a deal that assures good opportunities for the folks that will construct it. That offers opportunity for city residents in search of a pathway to the middle class, business opportunities for minority business enterprises, and provides more affordable housing is great. As you have heard, there are city residents and representatives of the individual trades in attendance this evening, and we are excited about this plan. There are many things in this deal for those that work in construction to be thankful for, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into crafting a deal that's a win for everyone involved. I look forward to working with the developer and contractors on the final details of a project labor agreement. I'm excited about the multiple opportunities for workforce development with city residents that this project will jumpstart. I can't wait to see the Diamond District unfold over the next several years, and perhaps, finally, in a new stadium, my daughter will be able to decide if she likes Nutsy or Natasha better. I appreciate the opportunity to address you all this evening. and the Richmond Building Trade supports this paper and hopes that you all will as well. Thank you.
With that, the public hearing is now closed. Bring the discussion back to city council members. Any comments? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. Yes, I didn't see any. Okay. Councilwoman Trammell.
President, I just want to say that this has really been a hard decision. I'm torn with my people because I know that I listen to my people, and I know today's my daughter's birthday, Jenny, with Tanya. Tanya and I go way back, but I know she texted me earlier and said, "Mom, I'll kill you if you vote against this world, especially Nazi. Don't, think about it." And what I've heard tonight with the jobs and the opportunity with maybe lowering the tax rate, bringing in more revenue to our city, infrastructure, money that we need, jobs, entertainment, restaurants. We need all of that. And I'm not going to be selfish. And I know some of my people are saying, vote no. They've been telling me this ever since our casino was voted down. Don't do nothing that helps others. I can't be that way. And because it's wrong. It's wrong to be selfish. It's wrong to be, as we had Pastor Hodges up here tonight. I was thinking, suppose he would have said, no, I'm not going to give you all the COVID shots. Suppose he would have said, I'm not going to open up my church. Suppose he said, I'm not going to open up my parking lot. All those thousands and thousands of people that his church helped save our people. Our people. So I'll have to talk to, and I know that Jason and City will come to my meeting on October the 6th and speak to the citizens. I know there's a little, him and I've had some discussion, and I know I'm going to get some calls tonight, but I'm going to support this development. It's for the good of the city. It's for the good. So,
thank you, Councilwoman Trammell.
And I'm sorry. I want to say this to Lincoln and to Leonard for trying to bring me back in reality. How you have to sometimes in this job put some of your differences aside and look at the overall picture of your people. Some of the poorest of the poor that I represent in my 8th district. I have them living in tents, mothers and children and babies living in tents because they have no roof over their head. I have Joey Matthews out there feeding the people every single day, going different places, bringing in the food to my people, our people that don't have anything to eat. I have people screaming and hollering, help us find a job. Help me learn to read and write. I can't read and write. So by that, my heart tells me to vote for this project and give it 100%. So I will be voting for this, and I'd like to add my name to the paper. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Trammell. And while I appreciate the enthusiasm being demonstrated by clapping, I have to ask you to withhold your applause. Thank you, Councilwoman Trammell. I have Councilwoman Lambert just preceding you, Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I just want to apologize for my tardiness. It's been a whirlwind to try to get here tonight, but I'm excited. I'm happy. It's been a long journey. Just want to thank everyone that's come out and spoke tonight. This is an important project for the city, and I'm honored and grateful that my colleagues felt that we were competent enough to be on this evaluation panel. One of the things that was brought to me about this whole project was making sure that it's equitable and we right the wrongs that have occurred in the past when it comes to past developments. On my watch, I was not going to allow any deal to not go through if we didn't have jobs, affordable housing, opportunities for those that are in impoverished levels here in the city of Richmond. I'm excited. I know everyone is in support of this, so I'm just going to wrap this up. But I just want to thank everyone for their input, the questions. I want to thank Maritza and Leonard, Sharon, the whole evaluation team. You guys are fantastic. I learned so much by just being on this evaluation panel and learning about how important economic development is to the city of Richmond. Right now, we are 10% of commercial development that's happening in the city. When folks say to us, why can't we be like Henrico? Why can't our taxes be like Henrico? Well, Henrico has 30% of commercial development going on. We got to do better. So that's why it's important that we pass this development and any other development that comes before us in the future. I'm going to be in full support of that if it is equitable and it's for all of Richmond. So I just want to thank you all for your time. Thank you for allowing me to get here in a timely fashion to be able to vote on this tonight. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lambert. Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam President, I just want to thank my colleague in the 8th for making the public stance that she did this evening. She didn't have to. She really didn't have to. But I'm glad she did her work. I'm glad that she spent time talking with the different principals and made a stand. Made a stand. And I hope everyone on council sees that sometimes there's things that you may not particularly like or may not fit your palate or your politics. But if it's for the good of the city and it benefits individuals, and you may have to tell some of your own citizens, your own people that you represent, I got you. Hold on. This is for the good of the city. We want to be fair and equitable because equity, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. And so I hope to see some of that equity on the south side. And it's not, that's not out there. I'm talking here between our 9, right? Our 9, that we see that and that we're vocal about it. And not just pick and choose based upon our own particular palate. I want to say that. I want to challenge our men and women in the union. It's good to see y'all here. It is. Everyone talks about how do we combat gun violence and all these different things. If we don't give these young brothers something to do, they're going to find something to do. That's the only thing that has kept many of us from going down that same road. We didn't come from the Rockefellers. We didn't come from the Marriotts. Like they say, we came from these streets. The one thing that got us out was hope. And I want to challenge our unions to make sure that we are going into the RPS school system to ensure that we are showing these brothers that if you can do something with your hands that people can't do or don't want to take the time to do, they will never be without a job. And they will always be able to make a positive contribution to their families and to their communities. And so, man, I'm grateful to y'all for coming out here. Mr. Scully, I wish you good health, sir. And I continually want to challenge our unions. Y'all are the key. Ms. Washington, you are the key to get these young brothers and sisters to work. There was a young lady, 24 years old, shot somebody over $50 worth of hair. $50. I'd give her that. And I would give that to anybody that feels they are in that desperate of a strait to go to that length, to walk around with a gun, to steal some hair, and in response to being held accountable for those acts, shoot somebody who's just simply trying to work. She didn't shoot a rich man. Not that that's fine. She didn't shoot someone who had millions of, she shot a man trying to work to put food on his family's table. And we can't shoot each other up like that because we're all trying to make it. And y'all are the key. Everyone's not going to go to college. Everyone can't play basketball. Everyone can't spit 16 bars. But we can teach these young brothers how to nail. We can teach them how to handle. We can teach them how to plumb. We can teach that. And so that's why I celebrate and support union work, union labor, PLAs. I support that because that's going to help us get to that next level. But we have to continue to make room for these young brothers, for these young sisters to find a way out of the streets that many of us came out of, that we lost friends to the game. And so, again, Madam President, I just thank all these brothers that have come down here to share from their heart and just to be here. Because I know coming from work, got to go to work tomorrow, and y'all here hanging out with us till 8, 9 o'clock at night. And so I appreciate y'all's sacrifice. To Ms. Ebert and the administration, thank y'all for your hard work. You often don't get thanks, and sometimes the thanks you get is just reading the stat line at the end. But thank you. I love Richmond. I love Richmond. And I want to see Richmond prosper. Every city that I've moved from built a baseball stadium, and I don't want to leave this one just for it to be built. Whether it was Denver when they got the Rockies, I had to move to Arizona. Moved to Arizona, they got the Diamondbacks, and I came back to Richmond 20 plus years ago. And so I'm glad to see baseball come to the city in this fashion, where we have top flight accommodations, something that when people drive by it, it's something that we can be proud of. Where young brothers and young sisters can get a job. That's my first job, San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. Peanuts and popcorn. That's what I sold. Learn how to be a beer runner. As we got a little older, learn how to tap that thing to party. But so many fond memories. This is what economic development does. It doesn't just help with the tax burden. It gives young people hope. It gives us something to do. And as we move forward. So I'm glad. I want to thank my two colleagues on council for putting in the extra work to see this development through. It's not easy. You're already burdened enough with the weight of council. But to take on a special project and handle the meetings that you had to handle, I just want y'all to know, because I haven't thanked y'all publicly for that, but I just want to thank y'all publicly for that work, because I understand that burden and the responsibility. So thank y'all for doing that. And Charlotte ain't got nothing on us. Nashville ain't got nothing on Richmond. And I'm here for the long haul to ensure that this is an awesome city for everybody. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. Councilwoman Nye.
Thank you, Dr. Newell. Thank you to all the citizens who came down tonight, gave public comment, and the folks who are on virtually. We have been talking about where to put the stadium for a long time. I was on school board, and I remember attending Kathy Graziano's meetings where the bottom had failed and we hit the reset button, and they were doing an outreach, and 4th District residents were there giving their feedback and everything. So we have been talking about this for a minute. So here we are. And I do want to thank the administration. Leonard always calls me and talks really fast and gives me like a laundry list of things, and I've gotten used to it. But I do appreciate he's very consistent, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It is the most communication I've had about something that has needed to remain confidential for negotiating purposes. So that ongoing communication really helps in building up to the big decision, release, all of that. I do want to say I did not love the timeline, and I told the administration that when they introduced the paper 2 weeks ago and they told me we were voting in 2 weeks. I wasn't happy. and express that. But overall, I feel like we're on the right track. It's taken us a really long time to get here. I like that the TIF is project-based and doesn't meander beyond the scope of the project. I think we need to work a little bit more on, I know we all voted on the resolution for the author ash, but that is a conversation that needs to continue with schools. But Scott's Edition has blown up and we have this big empty space right there. So it's time to move forward. I'd like to put my name on this paper as well. And I want to thank my colleagues for all their time. Again, thank the administration and the developers and all the folks in the community who have contributed to moving this project forward. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I know there will be a lot of more steps along the way. So I look forward to continuing to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nye. Councilman Addison.
Thank you, Council President. Here we go. We're saying yes to jobs, career building, experience providing, living wage rate paying, life-changing jobs. Housing, all types of housing, market rate, home ownership, 20% affordability. You got project-based vouchers from the Housing Authority. This is an actual opportunity to bring Richmond together. When we talk about One Richmond, this is an example of what that can look like. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But included in this project are things we've talked about for years on this council. It's not going to solve them all. Never will. That's why this job is the fun part. But what we have right before us is an incredible public-private partnership coming together. And it's about tourism, new retail centers, restaurants, culture, park. All these great new things that on land that's technically a big parking lot. And when you think about what that means for the future of our city, it is going to bring us all together. We get to be there for that opening day. I don't care where we are in our careers at that point, because it's past election cycle. I want us all to be there because it's important. But for me, this is a project that I think really shows how to do it right. And I'm excited to see the one that's going to happen just north of here, and Southside Plaza, and all the other places that would happen the same way. Because we've set now a standard and an expectation on how we make projects work together for the city. And it's now time to move forward on that. So thank you for all the people involved, all the efforts. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm sure negotiations and meetings, but what we have before us is an amazing opportunity. I look forward to supporting it as every step of the way moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Addison. Councilwoman Lynch.
Thank you, Madam President. Just having, it's an emotional moment, I think, for a lot of us, because what an incredible journey it's been to get here, and what an incredible journey our city has taken. Councilmember Nye alluded to this. I mean, this started, I can remember coming back almost 2 decades ago, seeing all of the no stadium signs littering the entire, I know a lot of you remember that, the no stadium signs littering most of our city. I remember countless deals being brought before this council, and certainly one in particular rings in my mind, where the audience looked a lot different that night, and we had hundreds of people, and we had a lot of turmoil. What a difference a couple years makes, and what a difference a team makes. And I'm looking at that team, and I'm looking at this team here, and you have been able to turn around the way that economic development is done in the city of Richmond. And you have allowed us to say yes. You have allowed us to have the faith and confidence.
They learned it from
in this deal and
the
many more
social
going
justice
forward.
community and the
And that's no
activist
easy
community.
task at all.
They
And
was
so that's a
telling them what was
testament
wrong with it though.
to your
Don't hold that up.
to the folks who were on that evaluation panel, the folks who are sitting over there in the bleachers, no pun intended, who poured a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this project. But the deals of the past look different. This is how the deals of the future look, and we are really proud of the team's work. We are even prouder of our home team over here, Councilmember Jordan, Councilmember Lambert. Who are we, Councilmember Lambert? We're a can-do council. So I mean, what a great place to be in, Councilmember Trammell. I'm really proud of you as well. I'm really proud of you. And I'm proud of all you all who stuck with us, especially Tanya. God bless, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. So this is just a really great moment. It is hard not to be emotional, but you know, I think this is a new dawn, and Richmond is open for business for all. So we appreciate you guys and all the work that you've done, and looking forward to seeing that opening pitch when that new stadium is built.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jordan.
Thank you. I just want to, again, thank everyone who spoke tonight or emailed, who came to one of the project meetings. Not to be redundant, I do want to say that I'm incredibly excited about this mixed-use, mixed-income project, especially the affordable and truly affordable housing, not just something that's 80% and called affordable, in a project that has home ownership. I'm also grateful for the revenues the development will create. Above all, I would say I'm excited about the jobs. And one of the things that set this proposal apart was there a commitment to the job training necessary to help our residents get job ready through their technical job training center that they're committed to in the South Side. I'm also thrilled that we have a world-class landscape architecture firm creating a new first-class public park and a thoughtful, intentional honoring of Arthur Ashe Jr. throughout the project site. I'm humbled that the Squirrels have waited and remained committed to Richmond. You are a huge part of our community and region, and we love you. Lastly, I'm truly grateful to my colleagues who I've learned so much from in this short period already. Thank you. And that extends to those who served before us, who were part of Richmond 300, who surplus land, who voted on rezonings. All of the work that made this project possible today for those of us sitting here now to vote on. And cannot close out without thanking Leonard and Maritza, Lincoln, all of the staff who worked so hard, and the consultants who came in to make sure that we fully analyzed every single of the 15 project teams to make sure that we were bringing the best project forward for Richmond. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I feel like there's not a lot left for me to say, but I will just kind of bring it home without trying to be too redundant. First of all, I want to thank all of the speakers who came down this evening and took the time to voice your opinion, whether in this forum or by emails, calls, etc., over this period of time that the project has been vetted. I want to thank the administration and its incredible team, Leonard and Maritza and Miss Ebert, everybody. I will surely leave somebody out if I start doing all the names, but it was an entire team effort. I would like to absolutely thank my colleagues, Ms. Jordan, Ms. Lambert, who invested significant time, energy, and effort to be a part of the evaluation group and to bring that information back to us. I am absolutely elated about this economic development project that is the kind of project that has the kind of community benefits that are so invaluable to our city. from the employment opportunities to the housing, the affordable housing, the mixed-use housing, the home ownership, all of those components, the hotels, the green space, business development, and not the least of which, Mr. Parney, I saw you back there shedding a tear or two, our sports and our squirrels and entertainment component. And I can go on, and especially in terms of our financial structuring of the project, which has been just a critical element. And so with that, I am going to press pause and just say thank you to all of my colleagues. We have, again, all council members who are in support of this economic development project. And Mr. or Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask you to call the question.
Council is now voting on item number 39, resolution number 2022-R055 as stated. Mr. Addison? Ms. Jordan?
Thank you.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Ms. Lambert?
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Nye?
Aye.
Ms. Lynch?
Play ball.
Aye. Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
And President Newbill?
Absolutely, yes.
That paper has been adopted.
Okay, we will allow the clapping on this one. Thank you, everyone, again. With that, Madam Clerk, I believe we can go forward to the expedited resolutions for consideration.
Madam President, would you like to give a moment for the chamber to quiet down?
I think that would be a very good activity, Madam Clerk. We will do that.
Thank you. Madam President, are you ready to proceed?
I am, Madam Clerk.
The items for expedited consideration are as follows, and they will be taken together as a block. A resolution to approve the issuance by RRHA of its multifamily housing revenue bonds in an amount up to $14.3 million for an approximately 161-unit multifamily residential rental housing project to be known as the Towns at River South Apartments at East 9th and Everett Streets in the city. A resolution to approve the issuance by RRHA of its multifamily housing revenue bonds in an amount up to $10 million for an approximately 112-unit multifamily residential rental housing project to be known as Southgate Apartments at the intersection of East 36 and Maury Streets in the city. A resolution to approve the issuance by RRHA of its multifamily housing revenue bonds in an amount up to $15 million for an approximately 115-unit multifamily residential rental housing project to be known as Guardian Place 1 Apartments at 1620 North Hamilton Street in the city. A resolution to approve the issuance by the RRHA of its multifamily housing revenue bonds in an amount up to $15 million for an approximately 115-unit multifamily residential rental housing project to be known as Guardian Place 2 Apartments at 3840 Maston Lane in the city. I will now need a motion to expedite consideration of these 4 papers. Councilmember Jones, will you make that motion?
Second.
Council is now voting on the motion to expedite consideration of the proposed resolutions as read. Mr. Addison.
Aye.
Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Ms. Lambert.
Aye.
Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Ms. Lynch. Ms. Trammell.
Aye.
Mr. Jones. And President Newbill.
Aye.
That motion has been approved and those papers are before you for consideration.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this point,
Damn,
is there any
Wait, what?
comments that patrons would
Are they
like
not
to
gonna
make
talk
on
about
any of the papers?
They better talk about it.
Please indicate.
Hold on.
And if not, we'll proceed to the public hearing.
Oh, how you gonna have a public
Dr.
hearing
Newbill.
Councilwoman
on the
Nye.
expedited
Can I
papers?
just get some sort of explanation on why they're being expedited?
Right.
Yes.
Dr. Newbill,
That's
councilors, ladies
crazy.
and gentlemen, my name is Mike Graff. I represent the Housing Authority on their revenue bond program.
Yeah, he
And the
the
Housing
same one that
Authority and the
expedited
applicants
the
very
ones,
much
man.
appreciate the expedited consideration and for the following reason. These types of lower interest tax exempt revenue bonds that the Housing Authority has the ability to use as a no-cost incentive
Nobody's been
for
able
the
to-
preservation of affordable apartments are competitive with other apartment projects across the state. There's only a limited amount of these bonds that are available in any calendar year. And so having the approval expedited allows the Richmond projects to move forward as
What?
quickly as possible and
That's
mitigate
normal.
against the chance
Yeah.
that a project from Arlington or
Duh.
somewhere else in the
He's
state
not saying
would get
why.
in front
He's
of the
not
Richmond
saying why.
projects in line for that commodity, which is the volume cap allocation for the bonds. So that's the reason for the expedited request.
Thank you. With that, we will proceed.
He was not
Is there
making.
any
He
desire
just
for
said,
comment at this point?
"We need to
Otherwise,
expedite it
we
so we can move faster." That's what he said. Hey, they handing over money. They giving over money. Wait till I say, hey, they giving over money.
Madam President and City Council members, some
What's
of
the
these
terms?
projects I just wanted to share.
Who is
One
this?
in particular
Who
are
is this?
ARPA projects. One is an ARPA project. So we will appreciate your
Who is she?
consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton.
Hampton.
With that, we will hold a public hearing on the papers. Do we have persons present desirous of speaking in opposition to either of the papers?
Hey, how can you? I don't.
Seeing none, do we have those present desirous of speaking in favor of the papers? Seeing none, bring it back to
What?
council
Oh,
for
man, they didn't
discussion.
That was
Any
wrong.
Discussion.
Oh, that was wrong. Like they don't even really
Seeing none,
let
Madam
you
Clerk, if you will call
speak
the
on it.
question.
Oh, that's
Council
crazy.
is voting on the proposed
That's
resolutions as
crazy.
read. Mr. Addison.
Oh,
Ms. Lambert.
Aye.
Ms. Nye.
I'm gonna have to read that. How you just approve
Ms.
something
Trammell?
you haven't even read through?
Mr. Jones. President Newbill.
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
How
Thank you,
did I-
Madam
I
Clerk.
don't
Let's
understand.
proceed with the other papers.
That's crazy.
Do you mean the intro papers or approval of the minutes?
The intro papers.
Madam President, the introduction papers for this evening are as follows. The following
that's
legislation will be
crazy. Hey, they-
considered
wow.
for recommendation at
So
the
we don't
September
even know
27th Public Safety Standing Committee meeting at
what
12
the
p.m.
papers were.
A resolution to approve and adopt the Richmond Crater Multi-Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. The following legislation will be considered for recommendation at the Monday, October 3rd Planning Commission meeting at 1:30 p.m. An ordinance to declare and to direct the sale of a portion of 2101 Commerce Road to 2107 West Commerce LLC, retain certain easements for providing access from the public right-of-way to 2107 Commerce Road. An ordinance to declare a public necessity and to authorize the acquisition by West Commerce Property LLC, 2101 Real Commerce Road, 2114 Rear Belvedere Road, 2600 Real Lynn Haven Avenue, 2215 Concord Road, 2237 Concord Road, and 2110 Lumpkins Avenue for facilitating the expansion of Broad Rock Creek Park. The following legislation will be considered at the Monday, October 10th council meeting at 6 p.m. An ordinance to authorize the CAO to accept $480,000 from the Virginia Department of Fire Programs and to appropriate to the Department of Fire and Emergency Services for the construction of the city's burn building to enhance the safety of fire service personnel. The following legislation will be considered for recommendation at the October 13th Education and Human Services Standing Committee meeting at 2 p.m. An ordinance to authorize the CAO to execute a grant between the city and Legacy Nexus Foundation for implementing a skilled trade training credentialing program. A resolution to approve the city's plan of service under the Virginia Community Criminal Crime Act. The following legislation will be considered for recommendation at the October 18th Land Use, Housing, and Transportation Standing Committee at 1:30 p.m. An ordinance to rename the Robert E. Lee Memorial Bridge as Belvedere Bridge and to repeal Resolution 2020 R043. An ordinance to amend the conservation and open space easement on Bandyfield Park for adding the Capital Region Land Conservancy as a grantee to the easement. The following legislation will be considered for recommendation at the October 20th Finance and Economic Development Standing Committee at 1 p.m. An ordinance to amend city code concerning the levy of tax on real estate to establish a tax rate of $1.10 for the tax year beginning January 1, 2023, pursuant to Virginia Code. And Madam President, that concludes the reading of this evening's this reading of the introduction papers for this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's proceed with the approval of minutes.
The minutes to be approved are from the Monday, September 12th informal and formal meetings at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. If there are no corrections or amendments, then the minutes will be approved as presented. Those minutes have been approved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we'll proceed with reports and announcements, and we'll ask that we try to adhere to our agreed upon announcement period and time frames. Mr. Addison.
Council President, thank you. I want to thank and celebrate the Thomas Jefferson High School football team for the most recent win over John Marshall, now making them 5-0. Let's go Vikings. Richmond is piloting a citywide community composting program thanks to a grant from the USDA Natural Resources. It's an important aspect of helping save our earth and our precious food, and more importantly, helping our waste that we're building up on every day as well. So I encourage you to read up on our how to compost and help contribute to our local food waste and support with our local drop-offs. We have locations in Scott's Addition. We have some at Uptown Community Garden at Parkwood Avenue, as well as the West End branch. So all around us in the 1st District, we're surrounded by opportunities for us to contribute and be a part of that. DPU is gearing up to host their Fall Citizens Academy. The sessions are 4 weeks beginning Tuesday, October 11th. This is a great opportunity for residents to learn more about DPU operations and to explore things behind the scenes. So check it out at rva.gov/public-utilities. We are hiring firefighters, so if you're interested in looking into what that career might hold for you, the Richmond Fire Department is having an open house this Thursday, September 29th, from 5 to 7 at Fire Station 1, located at 308 North 24th Street. So please come help us out if you're interested in that career. Our 1st District Town Hall will be held Tuesday, October 4th, from 6 to 7:30 at Mary Mumford Elementary. We'll also have a virtual aspect available as well. Please, we'll be receiving updates from the Public Library, the City Assessor, and of course, Public Works. I look forward to having all of your concerns, requests, and questions available for you as well. Of course, the RVA 301 is the quickest way to report city customer service requests or delivery of service issues. It's now approaching fall, so now we'll start seeing new different types of requests. So make sure we get those filed in, and I'll make sure we track them for you. You can always reach my office, 646-5935. You can also email us at andreas.addison@rva.gov, as well as whitney.brown@rva.gov. Check out our website, firstdistrictrva.com, and I'll see you at the next town hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Addison. Councilwoman Jordan.
Thank you. This Thursday at 10 a.m., the Urban Design Committee will be meeting, and it's a special meeting, so this is not normally on the calendar, to discuss the temporary landscaping plans for the Circle at Allen and Monument. That's where the former Lee statue was located, as well as the design for the new George Wythe High School. The meeting will be held here in council chambers and will also be streamed. Monument Survey, the Black History Museum, which took ownership of the pedestals of the Confederate statues, is seeking community feedback on their plans for the future of those monuments. Take the survey at blackhistorymuseum.org. And then my final district announcement, Abner Clay ribbon cutting. Parks and Rec staff invite you to join our office and other community members to celebrate the official grand reopening of Abner Clay Park following a multi-year renovation effort next Friday, October 7th at 10 a.m. The event will be held the same week as the birthday of the park's namesake, Abner Clay. And a big shout out to the former council member, Kim Gray, who really initiated this park redesign, and the rest of council for their support and work over the years to get us to where we are today. Usually these projects span multiple years and sometimes multiple council members. So I'm grateful for their work getting this done. And then a thank you to everyone who's been coming out to community meetings. Continue to stay involved, and hope to see you at early voting, either at the registrar's office here at City Hall or at Hickory Hill Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Jordan. Councilwoman Lambert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's just one announcement. It is Libra season, and Councilman Lambert's birthday is on Wednesday, and my liaison scheduled a district meeting for me on my birthday. So this coming Wednesday, we're having the 3rd District Community Meeting, and we will be discussing 3rd District priorities, upcoming economic development projects in the district, and we also will have Richard McKeithen talking about assessments. And since it's my birthday, we will have cupcakes from a fellow business in my district. So I expect all of Team Northside to come out, share with their concerns with me. And if you have not signed up for the 3rd District newsletter, please do so at www.3rddistrictrva.com. Thanks so much and have a great evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lambert. Councilwoman Nye.
Thank you, Dr. Newbell. And thanks again to all the citizens who came out tonight or gave comments over the teams or in writing. I appreciate your participation. A couple quick announcements that I have. On October 1st, this Saturday, Hobby Hill neighborhood is having a picnic at 3:30 on Oldfield at the court at Oldfield Drive. So if you live in that neighborhood, stop by. Oxford Neighborhood Association is holding their board meeting next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at the Southampton Rec Center on Cello Road. Again, that's 7 p.m. next Tuesday. The Richmond Folk Festival is coming up. It is the 7th, 8th, and 9th of October. Again, this is a free event, but please donate if you can. It's amazing, and we're so fortunate to have this in our city. So I hope to see you there. And if you need to reach me for any reason, you can email me at kristen.nye@rva.gov, or you can call me on my cell at 804-503-1313. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lynch.
Hold on, Madam President. I'm trying to pull up my. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just so pumped up. I'm going to do this very quickly so we can all get out of here. We had a great Pride weekend this weekend. It was a really fantastic series of great events over the past weekend. Was able to stop by many of them. Some big highlights were, of course, the Pride Festival at Browns Island. We had a wonderful recruitment event at Fire Station 17. Shout out to Fire Station 17. They had over 100 recruits there. That was amazing to see. And then we had a wonderful event at Midlothian Village. Thank you, New Life Deliverance, for hosting that this weekend. And of course, Maymont had their first Oktoberfest, and it was just a really beautiful weekend. And of course, oh my God, how could I forget? Crabacue was wonderful. Thanks, President Newbill, for hosting Crabacue in your district. That was a wonderful event. The Oregon Hill Neighborhood Association will be meeting virtually tomorrow night at 7 p.m. The link is shared via their listserv and Facebook page. The Swansboro West Civic Association is also meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Koinonia Church at 3600 McRand Street. They will also be hosting their Fall Fest in place of National Night Out, but also celebrating our public safety officers event next Friday, October 7th, from 5:30 to 8 p.m. The 5th District Office will be conducting RVA 311 infrastructure walks with the Carolina Civic Association throughout the fall. Our first walk with volunteers will be on Wednesday, September 28th at 4 p.m. We will meet on the corner of Rugby and Butte. The Woodland Heights Civic Association Safety Committee will be hosting a Semmes Avenue Safety Committee meeting on Tuesday, October 4th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Invites have been sent to the Spring Hill, Swansboro, and Bell Heights neighborhood. If you, like me, who live off Semmes, notice the extreme traffic calming violations that we see, or traffic violations and speeding we see on Semmes, please join us for that meeting. Very important. On Saturday, October 8th at 10 a.m., listen, council colleagues, hopefully you'll join me. October 8th at 10 a.m., we're going to honor my friend and community leader, Miss Cora Dickerson, on the 1700 block of Blair Street with an honorary street naming unveiling, and more details to come. Mark your calendars. Richmond Folk Festival is celebrating its 18th year. We're going to be there Friday through Sunday, October 7th through 9th. And of course, we're going to be doing our own town hall, 5th District Town Hall, in person and via Zoom on Thursday, October 27th at 6 p.m. at the Randolph Community Center. Additional details will be in our newsletter and posted on Facebook. As always, you can reach me at my office by calling 804-646-5724 or emailing stephanie.lynch or amy.robbins@rva.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Trammell?
Thank you, Madam President. I'll just be brief. Our 8th District meeting is going to be on Thursday, October the 6th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Satellite Restaurant, 4000 block of Jefferson Davis, Richmond Highway 23234. The developer from the Diamond will be there to speak to us about this big development. I want to say that I lost somebody very, very close to me, like my sister, on September the 15th. And I'd go over her house and I would talk to her, and she would be hearing people call me on the phone, fussing at me about don't vote for this deal because of what happened to us with the one casino. And when I'd get off the phone, she would say to me, Reva, do what is best for your people. You've been doing this a long time, and you know what's right and what's wrong. Sometimes you have to put your differences aside. And she's in heaven tonight, and I know that she wanted me to vote for this. I know she did, because we would go over there and watch the Atlantic Braves together all the time, the playoffs and everything. And she would always go to the ball games until she got sick. So I know that I voted for this on her behalf too. And like I said, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm just so grateful that Leonard stayed in contact with me and tried to explain everything to me about this was a good deal for the city. He never pressured me, never tried to push me into anything. But I did it, and I know I've gotten a few texts, and some people are a little upset. But this is the best thing. This is the goodness. This is moving our city in the right direction. And I'm not going to give up on the one casino and resort. I will not give up on that. I will fight tooth and nail and try to get it back for our people, because we need those jobs too on South Side. We need the food, and we need things for our people. Thank you, Madam President. If you have any questions, you can call my home at 233-7382 or my personal cell 240-5050. This right here is your free smoke alarm. You can go to any fire station and get the firefighters to come to your house and put these smoke alarms up for you for free. Or you can call 646-1526 and make an appointment for the firefighters to come to your home. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Trammell. Councilman Jones.
Madam President, thank you. I just want to again thank everyone who came out to our Resource Fest. We'll be having more events coming
Man,
up
I'm
this
about to get
fall,
out of
namely
here. I feel like watching this more. It's just
annual turkey giveaway
all the
called
good
the
stuff
Give Back.
over.
That will take place in
Rewind
November.
it
More
back.
information is going
And probably
to
pull
come
some of
out
the good parts out.
in the next few weeks. Our next
Like that
district meeting
bond,
is
that
going to be held
RHA
on
bond right there. That joint was
October
kind
the
of
20th,
crazy.
the third Thursday of the
Okay.
month at the
I'm gonna
Southside
get this
Community
joint
Center,
better.
6 o'clock
So
p.m. We want
I'm
everyone to
start
come on out
streaming
and get some
everything.
information about what's
So
happening
they can't keep
in
nothing from the people.
in our district, and most importantly,